Hello Horror Hounds. So it seems we're on a little bit of a mini Frankenstein roll after looking at Bernard Rose's 2015 adaptation of Frankenstein. Excellent. And 1985's The Bride, a weirdly wide of the mark reimagining of a continuation of the Bride of Frankenstein story starring Sting, or Stink as he should be called in this film. And this is coming from someone who actually likes Sting. I caught sight of this on the supermarket shelves, Frankenstein Day of the Beast. I'm not one to impulse pick up direct to video indie movies that you see on the supermarket shelves. There one day, gone the next. But it just seemed like it was saying, Frankenstein. So Frankenstein Day of the Beast seems to be the brainchild of a gentleman called Ricardo Islas, who wrote and directed it from 2011, but it looks like 88 Films may have got a recent or relatively recent distribution deal for it. It's correct to say at the top of this review that I'm not a consumer of indie horror. I'm not a rabid viewer of micro-budget direct to video stuff like this, so I've got very little to compare it with quality wise. What's fair to say is that I would say that any negativity I have about this film, 95% of that is going to be down to the simple hard fact of the size of the budget, and there's going to be no getting around that. One thing that also has to be acknowledged right from the start is honestly what an achievement it must be to actually conceive of a film, get the money together, get the people together, make it, edit it, distribute it. So everything I'm about to say about Frankenstein Day of the Beast, bear in mind, I couldn't be more impressed with people that actually put a film together and get it out. And I understand the constraints that come with a project like that. If you're looking for a faithful adaptation of Mary Shelley's novel, then this movie isn't for you. Quite fascinatingly though, what this story does do is focus on one tiny part of Mary Shelley's book, Victor Frankenstein's wedding night. That's the night where he's married to Elizabeth, but with an armed guard, fully expecting the creature to come, to fulfill the promise he made, to see him on his wedding night. It's the point in the book where the creature is at its most immoral, where it does some of the most consciously nasty stuff. If you like the thoughtful, philosopher, soulful creature that eventually comes to be in the novel, you won't get any of that here. This is a huge, lumbering, snarling animal killing machine. If that's going to particularly annoy you, again, avoid this film. But it's fair to say that focusing in on possibly the most reprehensible portion of the creature's night, and one of the most sort of disturbing impulses he has in the novel for that night, and making that the focus of this film, is quite an intriguing prospect. Another one of those intriguing little propositions also does deal with the nature of the creature in this. Not for purists by any means, but there's the possibility, the hint here, that what Frankenstein has created is a physical body with the spark of life, but no soul in it. Perhaps just some sort of meat machine or meat glove for something else to inhabit, something demonic perhaps, something evil to drive the machine that he's created. I suppose with micro-budget propositions like this, if you don't have money, you damn well better have locations. And right at the start, the film knocks it out of the park and unfortunately loses steam after maybe the first act. But the snow-covered winter setting at the start just looks like money on the screen. It looks, honestly, to my eyes, absolutely gorgeous. I started off with such high expectations thinking, wow, the quality of this is amazing. The almost monochromatic looking dark trees with with the white snow, and you can have the long shots just looking into the trees, and your eyes are looking to try and see if you can see the creature in amongst that. Like I say, it's money on the screen. It's a superb setting. And then later on, when Elizabeth and Frankenstein get married, they must have found, I don't know whether it was a disused church per se, but the interior, the crumbling plaster, the rubble and the like, the faded facades. Again, it's just money on the screen because it's real. You don't have to dress it that much. Unfortunately, the setting then, those two settings, because I guess they wanted the sense of time passing, the woods were no longer snow covered. Once the snow is gone, it kind of just looks like the woodland you'd find a few miles away from your house and the like. It sort of descends then into visibly, quite obviously, people just wandering around in a scrubby patch of woodland. The interior of the disused church becomes sets, which unfortunately, obviously, start looking like sets. The sort of cinematic alchemy that they have at the start sadly gets lost because you've got so few locations to use. The script sort of necessitates the characters having to ping pong backwards and forwards between the two. So there is a lot of the group of people there under siege from the creature, just going into the church, back out into the woods, back into the church, back out into the woods. I couldn't but help feeling watching it that a multitude of those sins, once we transfer onto the sets, could have been massaged along with some more shadowy lighting. You can see everything, and everything's clearly a set. And when we go into the tunnel sets, they're clearly tunnel sets, and a few more shadows, a few more areas of dark could have just helped hide some of those rough edges and brought about a bit of tension. There is one shot where someone's in the tunnel with a lantern, and most of the tunnel is black bar what you can see of the beam of light that's going around the tunnel. And suddenly, again, because you can't see everything on the screen, suddenly there's tension again in the shot, in the scene. Something's going to pop out. Where's it going to pop out from? The acting, as you'd expect, is a mixed bag. I'm not really fussed about that. You make a project like this, you're going to get a mixed spectrum of actors. What really disappointed for me on this, and I think what hurt the film, was the music. Uninspiring, way down in the mix, kind of insipid, and the Foley stuff. Now, Foley, you shouldn't even notice is going on. Foley is, and forgive me if I'm patronising you here, but Foley is, if people are walking along a gravel path after the fact of filming, someone is in a little sound studio recording the noise of gravel. The Foley in this, if you're noticing the Foley, then the Foley is hurting your movie. The gunshots sound like those little pop guns where the corks used to come out of. Awful. There's an awful sound effect put over a rape scene. There's just, I mean, what were they thinking? And the sound of punches. Dude, we're not in a 1970s kung fu movie. So all the forces helping the movie, and there is skill here. I would say that Ricardo Islas, the writer director, there is skill there. There are shots that are great. There's a shot of people emerging from an underground tunnel that he just, I can't explain it technically, but rather than just seeing them all come out one over another, he just layers a few frames one over another. It gives it a weariness. It gives it a sense of time passing. The denouement of the film is a moment of quiet, and that takes real balls, especially for something that is up until then sort of trying to drive itself with moments of blood and guts, horror, slightly more akin to Evil Dead or Reanimator moments than you might expect from a gothic story like Frankenstein. To build up to a moment of quiet that is more reminiscent than anything else of the moment in The Exorcist towards the end, where Father Karras returns to the bedroom to find Father Merrin dead and the possessed Reagan unbound, sitting on the corner of the bed, giggling with her fingers in her mouth. Now, come on. So my honest opinion is that there are some forces working for this movie and there are some forces working against the movie. At times, the forces working against the movie threaten to derail it completely. Foley, I'm looking at you. Score-wise, damn, put a temp score on there. Use something in the public domain. I'm thinking maybe Christ, go as cliche as Mars from Holst's The Planet Suite when you're doing the putting the creature together stuff, because the music you've got there just deflates the movie. And there's other stuff, genuine skill behind the camera and some skill in front of the camera as well. Some of the, mainly the leads, step up. Showing the monster in bright sunlight, ballsy move, but no, he looks like some big guy with some stuff stuck to his face. Keeping it in the shadows, damn son, there you've got some tension. I kind of do like this movie, despite itself, despite its shortcomings. There's stuff there. But this is the 21st century. Things aren't black and white. There are a variety of different opinions, a spectrum of analysis. I came to realize this on a video I did quite a while ago for the made-for-TV sequel to Rosemary's Baby, called Look What Happened to Rosemary's Baby, because I had the audacity to say that it wasn't very good. A commentator said that I was just a pompous windbag sitting in my bedroom. This isn't my bedroom, trying to sound like a genius. And do you know what? He was right. He likes Look What Happened to Rosemary's Baby. So I've been trying to end these videos with some alternate viewpoints culled from Internet Movie Database user reviews. The treasure that has unearthed is the critic Jacob John Taylor 1, who seems to really dig his Frankenstein movies, and he has really strong opinions on the Frankenstein movies. I really like him. He's a counterpoint to my voice. And here's what Jacob John Taylor 1 has to say about Frankenstein Day of the Beast. He had to say this on the 25th of April 2015, so in all due deference to him, he may have mellowed between then and now. But I have seen some great horror movies that were best on the book Frankenstein. Unfortunately, this is not one of them. Frankenstein is one of the greatest horror stories ever told. And it was ruined by bad acting and bad writing. This movie is very, and he spells this out, disappointing. This movie is very disappointing. It has an awful ending. See one from 1931, it's great. Or one from 1994, that one is also great. This one has an awful ending. It is poo-poo. I can believe a Frankenstein movie could such poo-poo. Most of the time, Frankenstein movies are great. They're the best horror movies most of the time. The book is great, but this is stinky poo. So there you go, your mileage may vary on Frankenstein Day of the Beast.